Hello, Stephen White, Trackboy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I just watched the first episode of Discovery Season 4, Kobayashi Maru. It was okay. It felt like an episode of Star Trek. It starts off playing out very much like a singular adventure, but then, of course, we have our season disaster to deal with. But it starts off pretty simply. They, Book and Burnham are on not a first contact mission, but a reconnecting with an alien race. It doesn't go very well. It plays a little bit like the first contact in Beyond, where it's just not going well. They have a species that connect with seahorse butterflies that basically turn into their wings, and they're offended by Book having grudge on his ship, bringing a carnivore to the planet. It just doesn't go well. They don't trust the Federation. They don't believe that they're there to help and so forth. They eventually just start attacking them. They run. They jump into the ship. They are in a firefight. They're basically flying, the aliens flying on their own, attacking them. And they are having trouble with their navigation because of the magnetic field of the planet is off or something. So they have a bunch of satellites. Michael, while hiding from their attack, actually fixes that to actually help them, which kind of clues them into the fact that they're not enemies. They're actually, going to help them, and sort of at all costs they're going to, go for peace and to try and reconnect with them and bring them into the Federation. So they escape. They end up on the ship. They basically, wave goodbye, over grudge. And these guys talk to them through the hologram, of course, and they come to an understanding, and they leave them with the dilithium, which was overall the mission, is to go out and spread the dilithium that they're now mining to all the different races and try and reconnect with all these different races, basically, to all join the Federation. So it kind of goes okay. So we see Michael on the ship being the captain, and Sonequa does an okay job of it. She does seem to have a different energy. They go back to the Federation. Of course, the shield's down. They've expanded the Federation from 38 planets to 59 planets. They're opening up Starfleet Academy after 125 years. They are moving on. The president, who's just been, I think has just been elected, is kind of coming across as politicking fairly hard. She there's a little bit of tension there with Burnham, because of course Burnham thinks she knows everything and is right about everything, and the president questions her. The president is very interested in her, and they eventually go back to the ship, and they get a distress call. There's a satellite that has been knocked off, damaged by gravitational distortion, and they go to rescue them. They find the ship upside down. They've got temporary gravity. Half the ship's out. They don't have life support on half the ship. They work on repairing the ship. They send over Tilly and the trans character, I've forgotten the name. They go over. They manage to repair the ship. They end up having to, temporarily, they have to escape using a shuttle. There's tension. The commander of the ship is not responding well. He's sort of going rogue. The president is continuing to question Burnham. Burnham goes out in a bee. What are they called? The little worker bees, to remove some shrapnel from the outside of the station, which was stopping the doors from opening to let them pull people out from the ship with the shuttle, because basically the shields, the ship has been damaged, the Discovery has been damaged by the gravitational distortion, and it's overloaded things and so forth and blah blah blah. There's fire everywhere and explosions everywhere, and you know the drill. They get them back over, but at the last minute there is a shrapnel piece of shrapnel that strikes because the station blows up, and it damages the cargo bay, and they actually lose the alien commander and 2 others. And 9 survive. I don't know if some were injured, and the president counts that 9 will basically go home alive and safe, and 3 died. And then there is the whole issue, the whole debate of Burnham's captaincy, how the president doesn't feel she's ready yet. They both talk about this being a Kobayashi Maru system where there was no way to win, and that she hasn't really accepted all the possibilities and isn't able to make the hard decisions. She was willing to endanger the whole crew for a few people and was taking risks, and she has, I felt, the arrogance of believing she's always going to win, she's always going to be right. And the president is sort of saying that's not always going to happen. Like, that's when we get into the analogy of the wrecking ball versus the pendulum, and that now they're rebuilding the Federation. They can't the big grand gestures that sort of saved the universe and so forth and got them where they were aren't always going to work, and she's going to have to learn some balance. So it's nice that we see Michael sort of being questioned by someone in authority and being tempered a little bit, because she still has that, I'm the only one who can solve this, I'm the only one who can do this, I'm the only one who can... She goes out in the worker bee because she's the only person who can manage it as well as anyone else. And there's a moment where she actually gets hit by a piece of, I think it was frozen methane or debris or shrapnel or something, and it actually shatters the worker bee, and her EV suit basically creates, the magic technology creates the helmet for her and everything, so she's fine. But it is a moment where it shatters. The episode is well directed, it's well shot. It's too dark. The ship is darker than it was before. I was hoping it would brighten up, because we had the whole issue with, what was the name of the first commander? Lorca. The ship was dark because of his eyes, and I thought, well, we should get some brightness. It didn't really happen. It's still dark, but the overall cinematography and the effects are good. There's 2 other elements, sort of B and C stories, although the C story, I think, is about to become the major story. The B story is with Saru. He's basically, his planet's doing well. They are at peace with the other race that they've been warring with, and everything's good. And he's trying to suggest that they basically explore and expand and, not sort of stay within their little bubble. And that obviously indicates that he wants to sort of, because that's what he always dreamed of, to explore and so forth. And the other, the guy who caused the burn, is basically saying to him, look, I have found my peace, I've found people, I'm not alone. There are people who judge me because of the burn, but there are other people who love me, I'm cared for. You don't need to stay here for me. If you want to go back to the Federation and go explore, you can. So they just sort of got him out of the way just long enough to put Burnham in the captain's chair, and now he's basically going to go back. So, and there's some wonderful scenes with Doug. He's always great. So I'm okay with Saru and his little journey, and he's going to go back and he's going to be a part of the ship, and I'm glad, because he was missed. You did notice that he wasn't in the mix when they were trying to deal with the various catastrophes and emergencies. It was nice to see. Oh my God, I'm forgetting everyone's names. I should have refamiliarized myself with everybody's names, the characters' names. The Asian lieutenant was in command and he was doing a good job. But normally that would have been Suru, so it was a different dynamic. And now we get to Book. Book actually was on his planet, kind of reconnecting with his relatives. They were sort of indoctrinating the child. They were doing some traditional thing where they take sap out of the tree and put it in a amulet with the blood of his people that he wears, and blah blah. The kid runs off, and Book's sort of debating whether or not he sort of joins with his people again. He's not ready. He goes off some kind of mission, and then the gravimetric distortion. I can't say it. It's 6:30 a.m. I haven't slept. I've been up all night. Hits his planet, and I didn't realize right away what was happening. His planet explodes with his relatives and everyone. His whole planet is destroyed. I thought it was another planet or a moon or something exploding, and I was sort of like, well, what's this going to do to the planet? And then when he's rescued and he is on the ship, and they do a scan, of course, and they start to work out the gravimetric distortion has affected his planet, even though it's so far away from this station that was affected as well. And they tell him the planet's gone, and he realizes that his family, everyone is gone. And it's quite a moment, and it's like, okay, so this gravimetric distortion is just traveling through space, destroying things, and they don't know where it's come from or what it's is it going to get worse? What is it? So this is the new big bad for the season. I just hope they manage to have some standalone stories, and it's not just another one long story dragged out over a whole season where you just have a chapter and a chapter and a chapter and you don't really get anywhere, and then they just sort of tie it all up at the end, and I don't really find that sort of satisfying. So I'm really looking forward to Strange New Worlds, because I'm looking forward to standalone stories and not being in this just ongoing story where you always get a little bit, it always moves along, but you never really feel like you're getting anywhere because you're just, another step along the overall. So it was okay. It kind of felt like Star Trek. There were a few scenes where I was actually like enjoying it and no one was bothering me. Yes, the ship is too dark. They swore. The alien is talking about the condition of the station. He says it's a show, which is a human expression of basically Earth for really bad. And they're like, yeah, we know what it means. And I'm like, did you really have to put that in? I was literally thinking, well, I'm actually enjoying this. And then he did that, and I'm like, now we have the profanity back. But overall, the characters seem to have found their places. The story for this episode of the rescue mission and Burnham's sort of command and being questioned worked. I enjoyed it. The overall story, it's still a mystery. We don't know what's happening. I just hope they manage to do both. Have the overall story and then some individual separate adventures, so it's not just one story dragged out, because if you're not involved in that one story, you've got nothing else for the season. It's just the one story. And I'm still talking after 12 minutes. Sorry, I was trying to keep this to 10 minutes, but it's hard to sum up everything that happens and give an opinion on the episode. And I am tired. I was up all night and I just saw this drop and I'm like, because it wasn't there a couple of hours ago, and I just thought I'm going to watch it before I go to bed. I don't want to have to do this tomorrow. I just want to watch it, get it out of the way. And it wasn't as bad. I was dreading doing it because I haven't enjoyed Discovery in the past, but I pretty much enjoyed this episode. It felt like Star Trek, almost. It's still not Star Trek, but it's so much better than the first season. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. At least Grudge survived is all I can say. I mean, he's not totally alone. He's still got his queen. But poor Booker. Poor Book. I want to call him Booker. I'm tired. Bye.